Your comeback is set to launch right now. It wasn't by sheer chance that you stumbled upon this message. The algorithm didn't just pick you at random to watch this video. Your eyes aren't just scanning these words without reason. You're here because something deep down inside you recognized that this message resonates with a truth you've been longing to hear. You're seeing this at this very moment because you're standing right on the edge of the most significant comeback you'll experience in your entire life. And it all starts today, November 22nd. If you can sense deep within your soul that your comeback season has officially arrived, if something inside you is telling you that this is truly your moment, go ahead and type "my comeback" in the comments section right now. This isn't just about boosting engagement. When you declare "my comeback," you're making a powerful spiritual announcement. You're telling the universe that you are absolutely ready. You're calling forth all the amazing things that have been prepared just for you. You're activating a powerful energy of restoration and elevation in your life. Don't skip this important step. Let's really dive into what a true comeback actually means. It's definitely not just about going back to the way things were before everything fell apart. It's also not about simply returning to your old life with a few minor improvements here and there. A real comeback is about rising to a level you've never even imagined before, becoming the best possible version of yourself that you've only dreamed about, and stepping into a reality that makes your past look like it was just preparation, not some kind of punishment. What's about to happen in your life isn't just about recovery. It's a complete and revolutionary transformation. Think back to where you were just a year ago, or maybe even just 6 months ago. You were probably struggling in ways that felt completely unbearable. You were dealing with losses that seemed totally permanent. You were facing obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. You were surrounded by people who constantly doubted you, situations that completely drained you, and circumstances that made you seriously question whether you would ever actually break through. And yet, despite all of that, here you are, still standing strong, still fighting with everything you have, and still believing that something better is possible, even when every single logical reason tells you to just give up. That incredible resilience, that refusal to quit, that unwavering faith in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary, that's exactly what qualified you for everything that's about to come your way. The universe has been watching you very, very carefully. Not in a judgmental way, but in the way a coach watches an athlete during training, carefully observing whether they have what it takes to truly compete at the highest level. Every single hardship you faced was an evaluation. Every betrayal tested your capacity to forgive and to move forward. Every failure measured your ability to get right back up and keep going. Every moment of isolation assessed whether you could find your strength within yourself. Instead of depending on external validation from others, and chosen one, you passed every single test. You didn't just survive what was meant to completely destroy you. You used it to become even stronger, wiser, more resilient, more authentic, and more powerful than ever before. Today, November 22nd, marks the official beginning of your comeback season. The spiritual door that has been locked for so long is now swinging wide open. The energetic blockages that have been preventing your progress are dissolving completely. The invisible barriers between where you are right now and where you're truly meant to be are collapsing. This isn't just speculation or some kind of motivational hype. This is spiritual reality in action. The shift has already happened in the unseen realm. Now it's crossing over into your physical experience in the real world. And when it does, absolutely everything is going to change. Your comeback won't look exactly like anyone else's because your journey has been uniquely and specifically yours. Some people's comebacks are loud and public, with dramatic changes that everyone around them can easily see. Others are much quieter and more internal, with profound shifts that only those closest to them will even recognize. Your comeback will unfold exactly as it's meant to, in the precise timing and manner that serves your highest good. Don't compare your comeback to someone else's highlight reel. Don't measure your progress against another person's timeline. Your path is yours and yours alone, and it's absolutely perfect for you. What makes this comeback so different from any previous attempts you've made to turn your life around is that this time, you're not the same person trying the same old strategies. You've been fundamentally transformed by absolutely everything you've been through. Your consciousness has expanded. Your discernment has sharpened. Your priorities have been completely reordered. Your tolerance for dysfunction has decreased significantly, and your commitment to your own well-being has increased exponentially. You're not going back to fight old battles with the same old weapons. You're moving forward into completely new territory with new capabilities, new wisdom, and brand new power. The comeback that's beginning today is operating on multiple levels, all at the same time. It's not just about one area of your life improving, while all the others remain stuck in the past. This is comprehensive restoration and elevation across every single domain of your life. Your relationships are about to shift dramatically. Your finances are about to change for the better. Your health is about to improve significantly. Your sense of purpose is about to become crystal clear. Your influence is about to expand in ways you never thought possible. And your joy is about to return completely. All of it, all at once. Because when heaven decides that it's finally time for your comeback, it doesn't do anything halfway. Let's talk specifically about what's about to shift in your life. First and foremost, your relationships are entering a season of profound transformation. Toxic connections that have been draining your energy for far too long are going to naturally fade away or end definitively. You won't even have to force these endings. They'll happen organically as the frequency gap between you and certain people becomes simply too wide to bridge. At the same time, soul-aligned connections are going to enter your life in ways that feel absolutely destined. You're going to meet people who feel like home. Conversations will flow effortlessly. Support will be mutual rather than one-sided. These new relationships won't require you to shrink yourself, pretend to be someone you're not, or perform for their approval. You'll be able to show up authentically and be celebrated for it. Your financial situation is about to experience a breakthrough that completely defies your current circumstances. Money that's been blocked from you is going to start flowing freely. Opportunities for income that you couldn't see before are going to become incredibly visible and accessible. Ideas for generating wealth are going to download directly into your consciousness. Resources you need are going to show up exactly when you need them the most. This isn't about working harder, or hustling more desperately than ever before. This is about finally being in alignment with abundance, and abundance responding to that alignment. The lack you've been experiencing wasn't because you weren't worthy or capable. It was simply because the timing and preparation weren't yet complete. Now they are. Your physical and mental health are going to improve in ways that truly surprise you. Energy that's been completely depleted is going to return. Sleep that's been disrupted for so long is going to become restorative again. Chronic symptoms that have plagued you for years are going to lessen or even disappear completely. The constant anxiety and depression that have been your unwelcome companions are going to lift. This isn't just about feeling a little better temporarily. This is about your entire system recalibrating to a much higher baseline of wellness. Your body has been holding on to stress, trauma, and disappointment in its cells. As your external circumstances begin to shift, your internal biology will respond positively. Healing is happening on every single level. Your sense of purpose and direction is about to crystallize with stunning clarity. The confusion about what you're actually supposed to be doing with your life is going to dissolve completely. You're going to wake up each day knowing exactly what your next steps are. The assignment that's been calling you for so long, but that you couldn't quite grasp, is going to come into sharp focus. And with that clarity will come the courage and conviction to pursue it without apology. You won't need everyone to understand your chosen path. You won't require external validation to move forward. You'll have unwavering internal certainty, and that will be more than enough. Your influence and impact are going to expand far beyond anything you've ever experienced before. When you speak, people are going to listen differently. When you show up, atmospheres are going to shift. When you create something, it's going to carry unusual power and reach. This isn't about ego or fame. This is about you finally stepping into the authority that's always been yours, but that you were too wounded or too timid to claim. Your voice truly matters. Your perspective is needed. Your contribution is absolutely essential. And starting today, you're going to begin operating fully in that truth. But here's what you absolutely need to understand about comebacks. They require your full participation. Heaven can open the door wide, but you have to be the one to walk through it. The universe can present incredible opportunities, but you have to be willing to seize them. Your higher self can download clarity and direction, but you have to act on it. This isn't a passive process where blessings just magically fall into your lap while you continue to repeat old patterns. Your comeback demands that you show up differently, think differently, choose differently, and move differently than you have before. You have to be willing to leave behind what's familiar, even when it's uncomfortable to do so. Comfort zones may feel safe and secure, but they're also cages that keep you trapped. You've outgrown the version of your life that you've been clinging to for so long. The people, places, patterns, and beliefs that fit who you used to be simply don't fit who you're becoming. And if you try to drag your old life into your new season, you'll ultimately sabotage your own comeback. Let go. Release everything that no longer serves you, and trust that what's leaving is making space for something infinitely better. You have to be willing to bet on yourself, even when no one else is willing to bet on you. Your comeback isn't going to make sense to people who are still operating at the level you're leaving behind. They're going to question your decisions. They're going to doubt your judgment. They're going to project their own fears onto your dreams. And if you wait for their approval or understanding, you'll never move forward. You have to trust yourself more than you trust their opinions. You have to value your vision more than you value their validation. You have to be willing to do things you've never done before. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting exactly what you've always gotten. Your comeback requires new actions, new risks, new levels of faith, new standards, new boundaries, and new habits. You can't simply think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into it. And that action begins right now, today. Today is significant for multiple reasons. It's the day after the new moon, which means you've just completed a powerful cycle of release and intention setting. It's the beginning of a brand new lunar phase that strongly supports manifestation and growth. It's also perfectly timed within the final quarter of the year, giving you incredible momentum to finish strong and set yourself up for an extraordinary new year. But most importantly, it's significant because the divine realm has marked it as your personal launch date. This is when your comeback officially begins. Right now, as you're reading this or watching this, you need to do something different than you usually do. Don't just consume this content and then immediately go back to mindlessly scrolling or reacting to other people's demands. Instead, take a few minutes to set the tone energetically. Speak declarations out loud. Thank heaven for your amazing comeback before you even see the first evidence of it. Visualize yourself already living in the incredible reality you're creating. Feel the emotions of having already received everything you're believing for. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is you aligning your frequency with the frequency of your brand new reality so that you can easily recognize and receive it as it manifests throughout today. Pay incredibly close attention to absolutely everything around you. Your comeback is going to announce itself through unmistakable signs, powerful synchronicities, and sudden opportunities. Someone might reach out to you unexpectedly with an incredible offer. An idea might suddenly drop into your consciousness, fully formed and ready to go. A chance encounter might lead to a very significant connection. A solution to a problem you've been struggling with for ages might suddenly become incredibly obvious. Don't dismiss these moments as mere coincidence. Recognize them as heaven's confirmation that your comeback is officially in motion. You're also going to face tests today, and in the days that follow, old temptations are going to present themselves to see if you'll fall back into those old patterns. Distractions are going to arise to pull you off course. People from your past might resurface, trying to drag you back into dynamics you've long since outgrown. Doubt might whisper in your ear that this comeback isn't real and you're just fooling yourself. These tests aren't signs that you're on the wrong path. They're actually confirmation that you're on exactly the right one. The universe always tests you right before a major breakthrough to ensure you're truly ready to receive and maintain what's coming your way. Your response to these tests ultimately determines how quickly your comeback manifests fully. If you give in to those old temptations, engage with old dramas, or entertain old doubts, you'll slow down the entire process. But if you stay focused, maintain your boundaries, and keep your faith strong, you'll accelerate the manifestation. Every single time you choose your new identity over your old one, you solidify your comeback even further. Every time you protect your energy instead of giving it away to others, you strengthen your position. Every time you take aligned action, even when you're scared, you prove to the universe that you're absolutely serious about your comeback. Let's address something very important right now. Some of you are reading this, and part of you really wants to believe it, but another part is skeptical. You've been disappointed before. You've gotten your hopes up, and they've been crushed into tiny pieces. You've tried to change your life multiple times, and you've always ended up right back where you started. So, there's a protective cynicism that's whispering that this is probably just more empty promises. I completely understand that your caution is reasonable, given everything you've experienced in the past. But here's what I really want you to consider right now. What if this time really is different? What if your previous attempts didn't work because the timing simply wasn't right, and not because you weren't good enough? What if all those false starts were actually necessary preparation for this very moment? What if the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your willingness to believe one more time? You have absolutely nothing to lose by believing and everything to gain. If you approach today with expectation and openness, and it doesn't unfold exactly as described, you're really no worse off than you are right now. But if you approach today with cynicism and a closed heart, and this really is your moment, you might miss it entirely. Faith isn't about being naive or ignoring reality. Faith is about remaining open to possibility, even when past experiences suggest that you shouldn't. It's about giving life one more chance to surprise you in the best possible way. And chosen one, you've made it this far, so you might as well go all in and see what happens. Your comeback is going to make some people uncomfortable, and you need to be fully prepared for that. When you start winning after a long season of losing, it triggers something in people who are still stuck in their own struggles. Your success becomes a mirror that reflects their own stagnation. And instead of being inspired by you, they might become resentful and even jealous. People who claim to support you during your darkest struggles might suddenly become distant or critical when you start rising. This isn't about you at all. It's about their own unhealed wounds and unmet potential. Don't dim your light to make them feel more comfortable. Don't downplay your blessings to avoid their jealousy. Don't feel even a little bit guilty for finally getting what you deserve. Your comeback isn't an attack on anyone else. It's simply your birthright. There's a specific energy that comes along with comebacks that you need to fully understand. When you've been down for a long time and you start rising again, there's a strong temptation to prove everyone wrong, to rub your success in the faces of people who doubted you, and to make absolutely sure that everyone who dismissed you sees exactly what you've become. Resist that temptation with everything you have. Your comeback isn't about revenge or seeking validation from people who couldn't see your value. Your comeback is about you finally seeing your own incredible value and living accordingly. The best revenge isn't proving those people wrong. It's becoming so completely focused on your own path that you forget they even exist. Let your results speak for themselves. Let your transformation be the only statement you need to make. You don't need to announce your comeback to anyone. Your new reality will announce it for you in a way that is undeniable. One of the most powerful aspects of your comeback is that it's going to completely rewrite the narrative of your life. For so long, the story you've been telling yourself and others has been dominated by everything that went wrong. The betrayals, the failures, the losses, and the disappointments. Your identity became wrapped up in your struggles. You became known as the person who was constantly going through it, the one who couldn't ever catch a break, the one who kept trying and kept falling short. That old story is officially ending right now. Starting today, you're entering a brand new chapter where the narrative shifts dramatically from victim to victor, from constantly struggling to truly thriving, and from barely surviving to feeling fully alive. And as your external circumstances change for the better, the way you talk about your life will change as well. The way you see yourself will change profoundly. And the way others perceive you will change in amazing ways. But here's something that's crucial about this narrative shift. You absolutely can't wait for your circumstances to change before you change your story. You have to start telling your new story before you see all the evidence in front of you. You have to start speaking as someone whose comeback is already fully in progress. Stop saying, "I'm just trying to get my life together." Start saying, "I'm in the process of a major comeback right now." Stop saying, "I hope things will get better someday." Start saying, "Everything is shifting in my favor right now." Stop saying, "I've been through so much in my life." Start saying, "I've been prepared for greatness through everything I've experienced." The words you speak create your reality. The story you tell about yourself becomes the life you live. Change your narrative today and watch your reality conform to it in incredible ways. Your comeback is also going to require you to upgrade your standards and boundaries significantly. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, accepted crumbs, made excuses for other people's bad behavior, and settled for less than you truly deserved simply couldn't have sustained a comeback. That version would have sabotaged any blessings that came your way because the internal blueprint just didn't match the external opportunity. But you've been doing your inner work. You've been healing from past wounds. You've been learning what you will and won't accept in your life. And now your standards are much higher than ever before. Your boundaries are clearer and stronger. Your tolerance for dysfunction is much lower than it used to be. This new version of you can easily handle the comeback because you won't let anyone or anything compromise what you're building. This means that some relationships that survived your valley season simply won't survive your mountain season. People who had unlimited access to you when you were broken won't have that same access now that you're becoming whole and complete. Dynamics that worked when you were desperate just won't work now that you're truly empowered. And that's perfectly okay. Actually, it's absolutely necessary. Your comeback requires you to protect everything you're building with everything you have. And sometimes that means limiting or even completely ending access for people who simply can't celebrate your growth without also trying to sabotage it in some way. Don't feel even a little bit bad about this. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply choosing yourself and your own well-being. And anyone who has a problem with you choosing yourself was never really for you in the first place. Anyway, let's talk about the practical side of your comeback. While there's definitely a powerful spiritual and energetic component to everything that's happening, your comeback also requires practical action in the physical realm. You can't just meditate and affirm your way into a brand new life without also taking concrete steps toward your goals. So, what does that actually look like in practice? It means updating your resume if you're actively looking for new employment opportunities. It means actually starting that business you've been talking about for years. It means finally having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding for far too long. It means investing in the course, or the coach, or the resource that will help you level up and reach your full potential. It means showing up consistently, even when you don't really feel like it. It means doing the unsexy, unglamorous work that nobody sees, but that builds the solid foundation for visible success. Your comeback will absolutely have momentum, but momentum isn't some kind of magic that just appears out of nowhere. Momentum is simply the result of consistent action taken over a sustained period of time. Today, you take one step and then another, and then another. Each step might feel small and insignificant in the moment, but they compound over time. Just 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, you'll look back and barely even recognize your life. But that amazing transformation happens through your daily choices, and not through simply hoping and wishing for something better. So yes, believe in the spiritual support that's backing you every step of the way. Yes, absolutely trust in divine timing and intervention, but also do your part to make your dreams a reality. Show up every single day, take consistent action, and be persistent in your efforts. Your comeback is a powerful co-creation between you and the universe. One of the surest signs that your comeback is real and not just some temporary improvement is that it will feel sustainable rather than fragile and fleeting. Past attempts you've made to change your life probably felt like you were forcing something that was constantly trying to fall apart. You were hustling incredibly hard, constantly pushing against resistance and trying to make things work through sheer willpower, and it was completely exhausting. The moment you let up even a little bit, everything would collapse right back to where it started. This comeback is very different. It feels more like alignment than force. Things will start flowing naturally, rather than requiring constant Herculean effort. Doors will open easily instead of having to be kicked down. You'll still work hard, but the work will feel purposeful and fulfilling rather than pointless and draining. You'll still face challenges along the way, but you'll have the resources and the resilience to handle them effectively. This is how you'll know that it's real and that it's here to stay. Another reliable sign of a real comeback is that your inner world will shift before your outer world even catches up. You'll just feel different inside before your circumstances actually change. You'll have a deep sense of peace and unwavering confidence that doesn't make any logical sense. Given your current situation, you'll find yourself thinking differently, reacting differently, and carrying yourself differently. Other people will definitely notice that something has changed about you, even if they can't quite articulate exactly what it is. This internal shift is actually the most important part of the entire process because it's what makes the external changes truly sustainable over the long term. If your circumstances change, but your consciousness doesn't, you'll eventually recreate your old reality. no matter what. But when your consciousness transforms first, the new external reality has a solid foundation to build on. Your comeback is also going to teach you things about yourself that you simply couldn't learn in any other way. You're going to discover hidden reserves of strength you didn't even know you had. You're going to realize that you're far more capable than you ever believed you were. You're going to see that you can handle rejection, disappointment, and failure without being completely destroyed by them. You're going to deeply understand that your inherent value isn't determined by your external circumstances or by other people's opinions of you. These invaluable lessons are all part of the incredible gift that your comeback represents. The comeback isn't just about getting to a better place in your life. It's about becoming a much better version of yourself in the process. There's also something profoundly humbling about comebacks. When you've been knocked down and had to claw your way back up with everything you have, you develop a very different relationship with success. You don't take it for granted, not even for a single moment. You certainly don't become arrogant or entitled about it. You know firsthand how quickly things can change in an instant. You know how much grace and divine intervention were involved in your personal restoration. This newfound humility makes you much more compassionate toward others who are currently struggling. Your comeback becomes a powerful testimony that gives real hope to people who are where you used to be. Your story becomes living proof that it's always possible to rise again, no matter what you've been through. And sometimes, sharing that testimony is a core part of your greater purpose in life. Let's address the fear that might be coming up for you as you read this. Part of you is excited about the possibility of a comeback, but another part is absolutely terrified of what might happen. What if you believe this and it doesn't actually happen? What if you put yourself out there and fail again, just like before? What if you let people into your life and they betray you once again? What if you invest in your dreams and they simply don't work out? Despite all your best efforts, these fears are completely understandable, but they absolutely cannot be allowed to run your life and dictate your choices. Yes, there's definitely risk involved in believing in something bigger. Yes, you might face disappointment again. Yes, things might not unfold exactly as you envision them. But here's what's also undeniably true. Staying stuck simply because you're afraid of being hurt again absolutely guarantees that nothing will ever change in your life. Playing it safe ensures that you'll never experience the fullness of what's truly possible for you. At some point, you have to decide that the possibility of living an extraordinary life is worth the risk of potential disappointment. And honestly, what's the alternative? Just giving up on your dreams entirely, accepting that this is as good as it's ever going to get. Resigning yourself to a life that doesn't truly reflect your potential. Well, that's not really living, is it? It's more like just existing. And you, my friend, were put on this earth for so much more than simple existence. You're here to truly thrive, to create amazing things, to love deeply, to make a real impact, and to experience joy, abundance, and meaning in every corner of your life. Your comeback, that's your path, your personal roadmap back to that kind of life, the one you're truly meant to live. So, yeah, it definitely requires courage. No doubt, it's going to require vulnerability, and yes, absolutely, it demands faith. But guess what? You already have all of those things within you, deep down inside. You've proven it, time and time again, by surviving everything life has thrown your way. You've passed those tests. You made it through the tough times, and now you get to claim your reward. You absolutely deserve it. As your comeback starts to unfold, it's super important to celebrate those small wins along the way. Don't wait until you've hit some massive milestone to acknowledge how far you've come. Celebrate when you choose to prioritize yourself instead of constantly trying to please everyone else. Celebrate when you set a healthy boundary and actually stick to it. Celebrate when you take even a tiny step toward your goal, even if you're scared to death. Celebrate when you resist the urge to fall back into those old, not-so-great patterns. These moments, they really matter. These choices are what build the momentum of your comeback, brick by brick. And when you celebrate them, you're basically training your brain to notice and appreciate progress, which in turn creates even more motivation to keep going and keep pushing forward. Your comeback might seem totally impossible right now, until suddenly, it's inevitable. Right now, from where you're standing, the gap between your current reality and the incredible life you're dreaming of might seem absolutely insurmountable, like a mountain too high to climb. You might not be able to see the entire path from where you are to where you want to be. And that's perfectly okay. You don't need to see the whole staircase at once. You just need to take the next step, and then the next one will appear, and then the next. Before you know it, you'll look back and realize you've climbed higher than you ever thought was possible. But remember, it happens one step at a time, one day at a time, one choice at a time. There's also something really important to understand about timing. Your comeback couldn't have happened any sooner, because quite simply, you weren't ready any sooner. Everything you've been through, every single delay, every detour, every disappointment was absolutely necessary to prepare you for this very moment. If the breakthrough had come earlier, you wouldn't have had the character, the wisdom, or the capacity to truly handle it. You might have mishandled the blessing or even been completely destroyed by it. But now, after everything you've endured and overcome, you're ready. You've passed every test. You can be trusted with success. You can steward abundance wisely. You can handle influence with integrity. The timing is absolutely perfect. Even though it probably didn't feel perfect while you were waiting, your comeback begins today, November 22nd. But it's important to understand that beginnings don't always look dramatic. Sometimes they're quiet and subtle, like a gentle shift in the wind. Sometimes the shift is internal before it ever becomes external. Sometimes the seed is planted today, but the harvest doesn't come until later. Don't be discouraged if you don't see immediate, massive changes in your circumstances. Trust the process. Stay consistent with the actions you know you need to take. Keep your faith strong. Protect your energy. Honor your boundaries. Follow your intuition. And just watch what unfolds over the coming days, weeks, and months. One more thing. Your comeback isn't just for you. It's for everyone who's connected to you and everyone who will be impacted by your fully expressed purpose. There are people out there waiting for you to step into your power because they desperately need what only you can provide. Your unique gifts, your perspective, your story, your contribution. They all matter so much. The world needs you operating at your absolute highest level. So, when you start to doubt whether you deserve this comeback, remember that it's not just about what you deserve, it's about what you're meant to deliver to the world. Your comeback is absolutely necessary for your purpose to be fulfilled. This is your moment, chosen one. This is what all the preparation has been building toward. The wait is over. The struggle is ending. The comeback is beginning. Today, November 22nd, everything shifts. Not because of magic or luck, but because you've earned it through your faithfulness, your resilience, and your absolute refusal to quit. Heaven has been watching. The universe has been preparing. And now, finally, you get to receive the reward for everything you've endured. You passed the test. Your comeback starts now. Embrace it. Step into it. Own it. This is your time. Every tear you cried watered the seeds of this comeback. Every night you couldn't sleep because of worry was actually preparing you for nights you can't sleep because of sheer excitement. Every person who walked away made room for the right people to finally enter your life. Every door that closed redirected you to this open portal. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. It all had a purpose. And today is when you finally get to see why. Today is when the dots connect and the picture finally becomes crystal clear. Your story isn't over. This is just the end of one chapter and the beginning of the greatest chapter you've ever lived. Walk into it with your head held high and your heart wide open, knowing that you've been prepared for exactly this. The universe conspired to break you down so it could rebuild you stronger than ever before. Every limitation you faced was teaching you to transcend limitations. Every loss was preparing you to handle abundance without losing yourself in the process. Every betrayal was training you to trust your own intuition above all else. You are not the same person who entered that valley. You are wiser, more powerful, more aligned with your true self, and more authentic. And this new version of you is capable of creating and sustaining a level of success that the old you simply couldn't have handled. Your comeback isn't just about getting back what you lost. It's about claiming what you never had before, but always deserved. You passed through the fire and emerged as gold. Step forward with confidence. Your time has come.